An animal clinic. Sarah had always loved animals. Even as a little girl, she would bring stray cats, dogs, and even injured birds home. Her parents, although initially resistant, noticed her genuine love and care for these animals. So, for her 10th birthday, instead of a party, Sarah asked to visit the local animal clinic. The moment Sarah entered Paws and Whiskers, she was in awe. She saw veterinarians treating a parrot with a broken wing, nurses feeding little kittens, and even a technician brushing a dog's teeth. Dr. Ella, the head veterinarian, noticed the young girl's enthusiasm and approached her. "Hello there. You seem quite interested in what's going on here," she remarked with a smile. Sarah shyly responded, "Yes, I love animals and want to learn how to take care of them." Seeing an opportunity to inspire a young mind, Dr. Ella gave Sarah a mini tour. They started with the X-ray room, where a turtle was being examined. "Turtles sometimes swallow things they shouldn't, so we're checking to make sure he's okay," explained Dr. Ella. Next, they moved to the recovery room. Sarah saw a golden retriever resting, looking a bit sad. "He had surgery yesterday, but he'll be back on his feet in no time," said Dr. Ella. The highlight of the visit, though, was the newborn puppy section. Sarah got to feed a 2-week-old puppy with a tiny bottle. The puppy's tail wagged, and Sarah's heart melted. As the day ended, Sarah thanked Dr. Ella and promised to come back. "I want to be just like you when I grow up," she said with stars in her eyes. Years flew by, and Sarah's love for animals never wavered. She volunteered at Paws and Whiskers throughout her school years and, inspired by Dr. Ella, went to veterinary school. After completing her studies, Sarah returned to her hometown and, to no one's surprise, joined Paws and Whiskers. Now, she was no longer the little girl touring the clinic but a full-fledged veterinarian. Dr. Ella, now retired, visited the clinic occasionally. On one such visit, she saw Sarah treating an injured rabbit. With pride in her eyes, she realized that the passion she saw in the young Sarah had turned into a lifelong commitment. The legacy of Paws and Whiskers continued with Sarah, and so did the tradition of inspiring young minds. Just like Dr. Ella had shown her the wonders of the clinic years ago, Sarah now gave tours to young animal lovers, hoping to spark the same passion in them. A big hope for tomorrow. In the small town of Harmony, life had always been predictable. People woke up to the crowing of roosters, worked their fields, and gathered in the evening for a communal meal. But for young Leo, this wasn't enough. He dreamt of big cities, tall buildings, and adventures that lay beyond the horizon. Every night, he'd lay on the grassy knoll near his house, staring at the twinkling stars, wondering about the world beyond his little town. He had heard stories from the old merchants about cities where lights never went off, where machines could fly in the air, and where people from all over the world came together. Leo's best friend, Alice, shared his enthusiasm. They'd spend hours discussing their escape plan, the places they'd visit, and the people they'd meet. While the rest of the town was content with their routines, Leo and Alice yearned for more. One day, an old traveler named Mr. Harold came to town. With a rugged beard and countless stories of the world, he quickly became the center of attention. Leo and Alice saw this as their golden opportunity. They approached Mr. Harold with a barrage of questions, and the wise old man happily indulged them. After sharing many tales, Mr. Harold gave them a tiny compass. "This compass," he began, "has been with me on all my travels. It doesn't just point north, it points to hope, to dreams, and to the future." With the compass in their hands, Leo and Alice felt an unspoken commitment to their dreams. They began to save every penny, read books about far-off lands, and learned new languages. Years passed, and the duo was finally ready. With backpacks filled with essentials and the compass from Mr. Harold, they set off on their grand adventure. The town gathered to bid them farewell, their departure symbolizing hope and the courage to chase one's dreams. In the cities and countries they explored, Leo and Alice experienced cultures, met new friends, and faced challenges. Yet, the compass always reminded them of their purpose and the big hope for tomorrow. Eventually, after many adventures, they returned to harmony. But they weren't the same. With stories as captivating as Mr. Harold's and a glint of the world in their eyes, they inspired the next generation of harmony to dream big and hope for a brighter tomorrow. And so, in a town once bound by routine, the tales of Leo and Alice became the seeds of inspiration, reminding everyone that with hope and determination, the world is full of endless possibilities. After the graduation ceremony was a sea of bright smiles, camera flashes, and colorful gowns. Among the crowd was Sarah, a bright-eyed graduate, ready to take on the world. Her cap, decorated with the words "The future awaits," glistened under the sun. Sarah's parents were teary-eyed, seeing their little girl grow up so fast. Her younger brother, Sam, on the other hand, was just excited about the after-party and the cake. He kept tugging at her gown, asking, "Is it cake time yet?" As the ceremony ended, Sarah's friends, Amy and Luke, came rushing towards her. They had been an inseparable trio since the first year of college. So, Luke began, with a mischievous grin, "What's the plan now, genius?" Sarah chuckled, "First, let's tackle that cake Sam's been eyeing. Then, world domination." The after-party was filled with laughter, dance, and of course, cake. As the night grew darker, the three friends sat on the rooftop, gazing at the stars. "You know," Amy started, "I always thought this day would be the end. The end of assignments, classes, exams. But it feels like a new beginning." Sarah nodded, "Exactly. Tomorrow, I start my new job at the city hospital. It's a new chapter." Luke sighed, "And I'm off to travel. Europe, here I come." The friends chatted about their dreams, hopes, and the adventures awaiting them. But they also spoke of fears and uncertainties. The real world, as they had heard, was different from the safety of college. As dawn approached, Sarah took out a small box from her bag. "I got us something," she whispered, handing Amy and Luke a tiny pendant each. It was a compass, similar to the one they had used in their geography class. "No matter where we go or what we do," Sarah explained, "this will remind us of our direction in life and of this day, our graduation." The friends hugged tightly, promising to always stay in touch and to reunite every year on graduation day. The sun rose, marking not just the end of a night, but also the beginning of countless new journeys. Sarah, with her friends by her side, knew that whatever the future held, they had each other to navigate through it. Crash on the road. Jake was an enthusiastic new driver. With his brand new driver's license in his wallet and the keys to his family's old car, he felt on top of the world. He'd always drive around the neighborhood, radio turned up, feeling the freedom a car could give. One sunny afternoon, Jake decided to take a longer drive outside of town. He'd been on the road for about 20 minutes, humming along to his favorite song when he noticed a car in his rearview mirror tailgating him. The driver behind seemed impatient and was flashing his lights. Feeling a bit pressured and not sure what to do, Jake decided he would try to speed up a bit to give the other driver some space. But as he pressed the accelerator, he lost control of the car. The wheels skidded on a wet patch, and in a few heart-stopping moments, Jake's car swerved off the road, crashing into a tree. Everything became a blur for Jake. The airbags deployed, and the sound of the crash was deafening. He felt a momentary panic, his heart racing. A minute later, the impatient driver who'd been behind him pulled over. The man rushed to Jake's car, checking if he was okay. With his help, Jake managed to get out, shaken but thankfully unharmed. "I'm so sorry," the man said, his voice filled with genuine concern. "I shouldn't have pressured you like that." Jake, still coming to terms with the accident, just nodded. Other drivers had stopped too, calling the police and an ambulance to ensure everyone was safe. The police arrived, took statements, and made sure both Jake and the other driver understood the seriousness of the situation. Jake's car was in bad shape, but he was grateful to walk away with only a few bruises. This accident became a turning point for Jake. He realized that driving wasn't just about freedom, it was about responsibility. From that day, he promised himself to always stay calm on the road and never let others' impatience affect his driving decisions. The man who had been tailgating him also learned a vital lesson about patience and the unpredictable consequences that road rage could lead to. Both of them, from that day on, became advocates for safe driving in their community, often sharing their story to educate new drivers about the responsibilities that come with being behind the wheel.